What's up, guys? This is Dominic D'Angelo of AdFreeShows.com, SEScoops.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. I'm trying to set the ambiance here for Raw. We talked. Raw happened last night, so I want to make sure it looks nice. There we go. Get a little green illumination. I got some Italian vibes going here. Little Italian vibes. I'm all over the map here, but happy to be here with you guys live as usual, noon every Monday through Friday on WE Creative _ish Twitter and on Ad Free Shows YouTube, on Working Stiff YouTube, and on the Rumor and Innuendo YouTube. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, get the word out about the show. But we got some good stuff to cover. Or maybe joining us, but may not as well. So we'll wait and see. But either way, want to give some shout outs to some folks in the house here. Wrestling Old Head, after morning R&I Tribe, what do you guys yeet for breakfast? I had an Intercontinental plate, and tomorrow, maybe a Grand Slam. Ooh, I like it. Oh, man, good stuff there. Is that that's all both Denny's references, too, I believe. You nailed them both. All Jake says, good day to you all, and to all a good yeet. Jason Poach says, yeet, happy Tuesday. Someone please check on Tony Khan, as those Jaguars on Monday Night Football last night looked about as good as a Shane McMahon versus Miz Steel Cage. My goodness. Yeah, they do not look. What is up with Trevor Lawrence? Doug Peterson, I loved him as a coach for the Eagles. Yeah, backup quarterback for the Packers, if you remember that, I believe. He was also backup quarterback for the Eagles. But as the Jaguars head coach, it's not clicking. What is the deal? What's the deal? Who knows? Andrew says Robert needs to do better. No, Andrew, Robert needs to feel better. That's what might be an issue going on right now. So I hope Robert's doing okay. Gerard J. May says, you may be all over the map, but we know you are unlike Robert. Where you are unlike Robert. That's right. He's a mystery man. What is going on? What's the status of Robert Karplus? Who knows? We'll find out either today or perhaps tomorrow. Either way, we have a new Intercontinental Champion, and that is Jey Uso. He defeated Braun Breaker in the main event of WWE Monday Night Raw that took place on USA Network. Jeez, I was trying to think what network it was. USA Network. And they were stacked up against two Monday Night Football games. But Braun Breaker, this was only his second title defense for the Intercontinental Championship. And he lost. What do you guys feel about that? Obviously, they'll probably build a story out of it. Braun Breaker has been shown to be a bit of a hothead, a loose cannon, if you will, Brian Pillman style, and wreaks havoc backstage when things don't go his way. What will this do to Braun, this loss do to Braun? Do you like this choice? I was really banking on Braun having a very good, extended, memorable run with the Intercontinental Championship. How does it necessarily feel when it comes to short title reigns like this, and you have a credible guy like Braun Breaker losing this quickly? Obviously, it's against such a star in Jey Uso, and you know he's super over. It's hard to argue that Jey should not be an Intercontinental Champion in the story that they were telling. It's just like these two worlds collided when both are on pretty much a hot streak. So is that the right thing to do? I mean, Braun did get definitive wins against like Sami Zayn for his title defense. But with Jey Uso just losing in the second, how do you guys feel about that? I'm very mixed on this. I thought Braun should have won that Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania instead of Sami Zayn, and then it went to Zayn, and then Braun kind of just felt forgotten about, and then things like that. But then he started heating up. Then you had the stops and pulls with, him going, but him like still heating up. But he did definitely like kind of was. There was some, I can't remember what moment it was, but there was also a moment before he won the title where it was like he took a loss, and then it was just like, oh man, what is going on here? So does this, obviously it benefits Jey, but does this benefit Braun, and how will he benefit from it? It's just a interesting decision. And they had this match surprisingly early. I think it was a good setup for Bad Blood, but they had it right on this main event of Raw. So obviously it will be about, a good deal of it will be about the follow-up and what they decide to do in that regard. But it does make you kind of, oh man, I wanted a good solid run with Braun Breaker because you know what? He's a hot act and he deserves it. So why would you want him to take a loss, even if it's against a star like Jey Uso at this point? Alt Jake says he's not worried about Braun. He'll be fine long term. Absolutely, he'll be fine long term. Wrestling Old Head says it seems they aren't building Braun to be an unstoppable beast because he's already getting over with the audience. So they are doing a pivot and telling the story of him being overconfident, losing. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Going back to the drawing board and learning from his mistakes, which people could eventually get behind where he goes for the world title. Maybe that's been his character since NXT, if I think about it. That's interesting. So you might be thinking that maybe they're really going to lean into him being a babyface, him kind of seeing the error of his chaotic ways and going that. That would be an interesting way to kind of take it and add value to the loss that he took. So interesting. Good stuff. Jey does have a lot of momentum. That pop was undeniable. It's a great point, Jake. He was very, very over. That crowd was super into Jey. I'm happy for Jey, too. It's like he's got himself over as a singles act and, like, feels like right in that zone of, like, hey, what a good Intercontinental Champion he would make. And, it's kind of neat to see him have that after, decades of being a tag guy. And Joe Tessitore made mention of that. For years, he was a tag wrestler, a twin, mentioned all that stuff. And the kind of that viewpoint, that canvas seemed already painted for him. But he broke the mold and got over on his own, being such a conflicted heel during the Bloodline run. And then fans always like to see a redemption story, and that was Jey Uso's story. He was very, very much a factor in the Bloodline. So neat to see him kind of get the. This is by far not a gold watch. But he's earned it, and it'll be neat to see what they kind of do. I don't want to see, determining this. I don't want to see him play hot potato with the title. Since you have Jey have it now, let him have it. Like, let him go on a run with it, and let him have a good time with it. Because you have a heel world champion, why not have a babyface Intercontinental Champion and have some satisfying aspects of it? And then you can build to stuff with him and Sami Zayn, whether they go after the tag titles, whether there tends to be some conflict between the two. It'll be very interesting to see how they follow up with Braun Breaker, though. Obviously, that's something that will be discussed moving forward. But let's get into Raw a little bit more. Liv Morgan and Dom kick off the show. We get a cool opening moment where, like, as they're walking into the arena, it's Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed just brawling it out, breaking through a merch table. They go past it. They go right through Gorilla, and they kick the show off. And Liv does a victory lap, something the fans in Ontario, California are not aware of because they're a bunch of losers. And she cuts a promo, and then out comes Rhea. She's got some news to break, and sure enough, it's Dom in a shark cage at Bad Blood. He won't be able to interfere, so Rhea will be able to get her hands on Liv Morgan. I love this. This is what, shark cage matches are kind of like, what? What's like, we're doing a shark cage match? They're kind of like in that realm of like, okay, this is a weird match to kind of have, but this is perfect this is what you want. Dom is going to look great in a shark cage hanging above, not being able to do anything. I'm all for this match, and should be really neat to see. Now, here's what's something to think about. Judgment Day, and we've kind of seen this later on in the show. Kind of average right now. They almost feel like a level right now a little bit below even the new Bloodline. And I've talked about on here how the new Bloodline is kind of underwhelming in regards to, hey, Solo Sikoa is not a hot act. Both Guerrillas of Destiny look very beatable when it comes to dealing with stars like a Cody Rhodes or, you name it, like if they're in a tag match or anything like that, despite being the tag team champs. Now, the Judgment Day, I'll just talk about this. Dragon Lee defeats Carlito later on. We do get a compelling little video of Damian Priest talking about Finn Balor, but it's just like none of the faction besides Liv and Dom feel like a hot hand to go with right now because of how they've been positioned and stuff like that. Like, I did like the cat and mouse game that Damian and Finn were playing with one another, but they kind of broke that throughout the past couple of weeks, and we've seen Finn kind of show a little bit of vulnerability, and then they get the hands on one another, and it's just like, where does that kind of come into play? So here's my idea. Now, obviously, who knows what's going to happen here at Bad Blood, and Robert and I will eventually make our predictions when the pay-per-view comes or PLE comes. But how interesting would it be if somebody new came into the match and cost Rhea her shot at the championship? What if you got a big new enforcer in the mix of Judgment Day? Could we see like a Raquel Rodriguez or like a new big man-heater? Man-heater. That's a Hall & Oates reference, everyone. Man-heater. Gotta watch out, boys. He'll chew you up. But yeah, I would like to see something like that, because I think there's still some viability in Liv being the champion and Rhea still chasing for the title. There you go. I like it. See, Robert wouldn't like this wrestling old head, but I like it. I like it a lot. Baron Corbin. I like it. I think that's a good choice. Oh, man. Oh, what about that, Trey? That's an interesting one, too. And they would fit that vibe. They would fit that vibe, Trey. Man, the Lucha Brothers coming to help Dom. Because Judgment Day is supposed to have this kind of dark, overcasty feeling. We got that with Edge at the beginning. They kind of ventured away from that into more of a biker gang, biker club vibe. Yeah, I think Penta could really elevate that. That's cool. That's a good call. I like that. Gerard J says, I think it has to be a female. Do you think we will get that at all? Like, I'm just throwing that out there that, hey, maybe to heat this faction up, we need some new blood into the Judgment Day, this new version of the Judgment Day, because it's just like they're kind of Phil mid-card right now, And I mean, if you're looking at it from a structure standpoint, it kind of is, but you don't want it to feel like that, right? You want it to feel like a big deal. It doesn't feel like a big deal. Wait, what was this? That wasn't me. That was Tom. What is that callback? Help me out there, Jake, with that. I want to know what you're referring to there. I'm intrigued. You got me intrigued. Yes, Bad Blood is in Georgia, so it's in Atlanta. Correct. Oh, ooh, that's interesting too. Man, Dre, you're making some good pitches here. Nikita Lyons, that wouldn't be bad either. Lots of stuff to think about. I am intrigued. You guys got me even more intrigued by that prospect. But I'm excited for that match. Bad Blood looking like an amazing card, is it not? I mean, there's some good stuff going on there. And what was also good stuff was Sami Zayn going up against Ludwig Kaiser in the opening match. Sami gets a win after Ludwig gets too heated up with the referee, and the distraction costs him the victory. And Sami gets the Helluva kick and gets the definitive 3 count on Ludwig Kaiser. So then Gunther comes out, teases that he's going to give Sami this title shot, and then pulls the rug out from under him yet again. No, I deny that. Looks like we're not going to get that match at Bad Blood. And I don't think Bad Blood needs it. Why not build this either, whether it's to Survivor Series or make it a big main event kind of match on Raw? I'd almost pay it off at Survivor Series, though. But we'll see how it goes. And plus, it's in Vancouver. Sami's Canadian, so why not kind of do that and get Gunther another big win and get some big-time heel heat on him, too. So could probably see that potentially happening there. We had a backstage segment featuring Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods with American Made. And, wow, I really like this segment. Really sets up Kofi in a good position. From these weeks that we've seen Kofi's kind of been, obviously he's a babyface, but he's kind of been at fault with all this, right? Like, he hasn't been the best tag team partner to Xavier Woods. And we kind of see Kofi just own up to it. He's like, yeah, man, I'm not doing a good job. I just want to apologize. Woods dismisses it, says, "No, man, it's not a big deal. I got heated, and it was like a cool kind of friendly segment." And then Kofi's like, "Listen, let's just go by what you say. We'll do whatever you want," kind of thing. Kofi tries to have some fun, like bringing in the. This was a fun aspect of it, like bringing in the old nostalgia stuff when it comes to New Day, like the Bootios and what's the name of his trombone? It's not Darlene. It's something though. We'll call it Darlene because I just like it. Winona. I don't remember. You guys will know what the name of it is. But either way, that was fun stuff. And then they get laughed at by American Made, and we get a match booked at it. And the funny thing is like some guy comes in with like what was it, like a bowl of pancakes or a bowl? I can't remember what it was. Kofi like blows him. I was like, no, pull it back because he doesn't want Woods to see it. It was a really neat segment. Oh, wait. Let's see. Okay, so Dom wasn't saying it was him. It was Tom to Pierce when he was saying to Dom, "Oh, who interferes?" Oh, okay. Okay, I like that. So yeah. But now with this, now they set that match up for later on. I'll just talk about it right now. They have the match eventually later on on the card, and American Made wins. And they need this win. I mean, after you're losing to the Wyatt Six, they're kind of still they're coming off greatly as a comedy act in certain ways because Brutus is kind of leaning into the over the top, like laughing and that kind of thing. But they look credible in the ring, and you want them to get a win, and it's at Xavier's own hand that they lose because he gets too aggressive with Chad Gable, who wasn't even in the match. That distraction causes New Day to ultimately lose when Kofi was on the page of making it work. And then we get these guys in a backstage segment again where Xavier Woods is very frustrated. Rey Mysterio comes up with the LWO and apologizes for last week in the miscommunication, says it won't happen again kind of thing. But Xavier Woods is just prickish to Rey and really like saying, like going after his son, which obviously they're feuding, but and like just kind of cutting deep at Rey, like taking some mean jabs at Rey, and then this eventually leads to a match that gets booked next week. Rey was supposed to take on Finn Balor, but now he's going up against Xavier Woods, and Kofi is just kind of like, dude, no, it's not, it's a out of line kind of thing, and so there's continued conflict. Really liking what they're doing with the New Day here. One of my favorite parts of Raw, I will say. So it's neat. I'm A-okay with New Day breaking up. It's high time that they do, and it looks like we are finally going to get that. So, but great stuff, compelling stuff going on there. Let's see here. Wrestling Old Head says Kofi has been coming across like an old record player playing the hits while Xavier is like, I want to play Spotify, yo. That's right. Like he wants to change it up, but he's not putting on the right music to dance to, right? So he screwed it up. And now Kofi's like, trying to still be a voice of reason and kind of, calming the waters, so to speak, as a good babyface does. But Xavier is going off the rails. We see him unraveling. So they are telegraphing Xavier hard with the black attire too. Maybe it's a swerve. No, I think they're telegraphic. Why not telegraphic? Telegraphic. Why not telegraph it? Yeah, I'm all for it. I think it would behoove Xavier Woods to be the heel, not Kofi Kingston more so. Kofi is just a natural baby face, I think, in a lot of ways. So I like that across. Yeah. So there we go. Let me see. What else are we talking about? We have Karrion Kross. Speaking of manipulative, he manipulates the Miz, really trying to get a bug in his ear about, hey, you are a monster, and like trying to build him up. Definitely up to no good, and Miz kind of sees that, but is kind of seeing eye to eye with Karrion Kross on this. So what will we see? He tries to get a match with Bronson Reed. Miz doesn't even come out. The brawl just takes place in Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. We get more of that. They tease some top rope maneuvers. That never happened. Security breaks it up. Braun body slams several security guards. Goes to maybe jump to the outside, but Bronson Reed backs away. Order tries to get restored. Ultimately, Adam Pearce books a last monster standing match on Raw next week. They're really shaping up the card. for the go home for Bad Blood. Exciting. Very, very exciting. I like it. We also get Drew McIntyre. So CM Punk. I looked on his Instagram. I saw he was riding in a car with Larry. Like Larry was riding shotgun. So I'm like, oh, CM Punk's in Chicago. He's not going to be at Raw. Well, he was at Raw, but he wasn't on Raw. As far as I know, I didn't see him at all. Like I watched the show on Sling, so I was like skipping through commercial breaks and stuff. Maybe I missed a little something. Maybe tell me if I did miss Punk on Raw, but I don't think I did. But either way, Drew McIntyre comes out and has the same tone that CM Punk did. I don't think he needed to do anything different with that. Like you want these guys to be serious. Drew talked about the stakes of, hey, your sister said you shouldn't go, begged you not to go in here. Your wife told you not to go in here. Well, my family's told me the same thing, and they know this has gone too far. And I don't want to be back in a Hell in a Cell. I know what it did in the past, and it's damaged me long term. And so Drew sets the tone, furthers the tone, and makes this feel like a big deal because it is. It is. I'm trying to think before I say anything. I'm going to think about this, and now I will say it. Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk has been the feud of 2024. Easily. Do you guys agree with me? Do not sound off in the comments. Let me know. Do you disagree with this short, bald-headed Italian? You tell me. But I am very compelled by Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. What they've been doing has been great. I will say this right off the bat, and I might do a video thing later on. But I really do believe Drew McIntyre is the wrestler of the year. And that is by a country mile, I will say. By a country mile. This is across the board. This is including AEW. This is including WWE. Drew McIntyre, wrestler of the year. To continue a feud with somebody that has been injured for the majority of the year and make it as compelling as he did, make it as fun as he did, some unbridled character work. You can't argue against Drew McIntyre being the wrestler of the year. It's like that story goes where it's like, oh, Ric Flair or Ravishing Rick Rude can work a broomstick. Well, Drew's done that from a persona, verbal, and somewhat physical sometimes, with other talent, but he hasn't had a dance partner literally in the ring and made this feud the most compelling thing on pro wrestling television. Drew McIntyre, wrestler of the year. This feud of the year. I think it's not. I think it's hard to argue against. Tell me if you guys think there's a different feud that contends with that. Wrestling Oldhead says I 100% agree. I thought it was the feud of the year in May. Exactly. Jake also agrees. Jay Sloan says definitely the best, one of the best, if not the best. I like this. Wrestling Oldhead says Larry has been trying to get Punk to have a Hell in a Cell match against Drew with Larry and all his homies around the ring. Larry did have some homies. I think it was Kathy Kelly's pooch backstage, because Punk was posting on his Instagram stories. Larry interacting with another smaller dog. Funny captions. You should check it out if you're on Instagram and you follow CM Punk. Check out his stories. It should be up there right now. Yes, Jay Sloan, his acting has gotten a lot better. The Wrestling Old Head says Drew has really stepped up his promo game as well. He's been knocking it out of the park on the... Yeah, I mean, you could give Drew several awards for Feud of the Year, Wrestler of the Year, and Promo of the Year. Again, hard to argue against any of those. It really is. But yeah, good stuff. Very excited for Bad Blood. Feels, it's neat that they brought this name back of the PLE, because look at it this way: Bad Blood, the home, the original home of Hell in a Cell between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, the debut of Kane. Now we have this compelling feud between two top stars in a Hell in a Cell at this pay-per-view. It continues the cool legacy of this Bad Blood identity when they bring it back here. And, so it's a neat opportunity for both Punk and Drew to make this match stand out. And if they do everything right here, this I'm really excited for this match. It's all the story that build around it. This, you're not going to get from an athletic or crazy like maneuvers or anything like that standpoint. But if they tell a great, compelling story in the ring and both guys stay healthy, things go according to plan, what they have set out to convey the story. Ultimately, you'd probably think Punk is going to come out on top on this, but if they convey the good story, I think this has the potential to be the match of the year. And not from, like I just said, an athletic standpoint. It doesn't need it. Pro wrestling, when I consider a match of the year candidate, athleticism does come into play to a certain extent. But overall, it's really the story that you want to sink your teeth into. And maybe that's just my old, I don't like saying old mindset. It's just my pro wrestling mindset with it was. So you saw the Killers game. Rated with out of 5 stars, Dre. If you're Dave Meltzer, what star rating would you give that movie, Killers game? Ooh, interesting. Pepsi Punch on a cinder block for the win. I'm calling it now. I don't want to see cinder blocks. I want to see them just duke it out. Maybe like a steel chair involved. I don't want any like bells and whistles too much in the Hell in a Cell. Like kendo stick maybe, but ultimately like give me just a steel chair and these guys just brawling and duking it out and doing what they can. A chain, something like that, But I think if they were to do like a cinder block spot and stuff like that, you automatically think in your head, hey, Hangman Swerve. Maybe you're joking with wrestling all that. I don't know, but I want this like just a straight out freaking brawl between these two, just going toe to toe. Like blood has to get involved in all this stuff. But yeah. Dre says 3.5 for Killer's game. Interesting. Don't want to see it. Definitely want to see it. I like Batista. I like Drew. I love those kind of like caper movies where it's like the hitmen are after one another. So fun kind of thing going on there. All right. Anything else I want to talk about with Raw? No, let's move on. But before I do, gotta say, did you flip the channels? Were you having your own Monday Night Wars last night, but with WWE Raw and NFL Monday Night Football? You had 2 games to check out if you did. Well, maybe next week or this coming Sunday, you can do the Pick 6 app with DraftKings. Pick at least 3 players and bet an over or under on their statistics. Will a certain running back maybe score over 2 touchdowns? Will a certain quarterback throw for maybe over 250 yards? You can do that on the Pick 6 app. Just pick your players, see what fits for your over and under on a statistical category for that player, and then place a bet on it. Last week, my bets were not that good. Drew, oh my God, I almost said Drew Brees. I was thinking Drew McIntyre. I'm thinking Derek Carr. Derek Carr of the Saints did not play very well. I was predicting he was going to throw for over a certain amount. I don't believe he did that. He did not make my quota. But the neat thing is, I bet like $5 or $10. I stood to win like 52 if that's the case. So if you are confident in your picks, make your picks. Download the Pick 6 app. Use promo code RUMOR. And you get cash, you get a credit back on there to gamble with and have some fun with. So do the DraftKings Pick 6 app, use promo code RUMOR, and get that little hefty bonus that you can get. So thank you, DraftKings. The crown is yours, everyone. The crown is not Vince McMahon's, though. By a country mile. That is also not Vince McMahon's. Gross Point. One of my favorite Hitman movies was Gross Point Blank. Interesting. I should check that out. Trying to think. In Bruges. Check out In Bruges if you haven't seen that. That's Martin McDonagh directed it. Colin Farrell's in it. Brendan Gleeson. Great dark comedy. Very dark comedy, but it's awesome. Like, Martin McDonagh is such a fantastic playwright. I always recommend, if you can pick it up like on Amazon or something, it's called The Beauty Queen of Leenane series of plays, and it takes place all in this Leenane, Ireland or something like that, but very dark comedy, really hits a great tone. Fun read. Check those out. Martin McDonagh, Google him if you're not aware who he is. Does some great work. But Alt Jake agrees. Gross Point all-timer. I'll have to check that out. I'm surprised I haven't seen that. Okay. Well, let's get to the Vince McMahon statement that happened. So, kind of a surprise. Obviously, the documentary's coming out tomorrow on Netflix, the Mr. McMahon. Well, Vince McMahon does a little bit of a run-in on X. He posts a lengthy statement, and this is what he says, ladies and gentlemen. I don't regret participating in this Netflix doc. I don't regret participating in this Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business I built, which we were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. Unfortunately, based on an early partial cut I've seen, this doc falls short and takes the predictable path of conflating the Mr. McMahon character with my true self, Vince. The title and promos alone make that evident. A lot of this has been misrepresented. A lot has been misrepresented or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers intentionally confused. The producers use typical editing tricks with out of context footage and dated sound bites, etc., to distort the viewer's perception and support a deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair I ended as evidence that I am, in fact, Mr. McMahon. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember that there are two sides to every story. So, surprising that he issued a statement. It makes sense. It does make sense. You'd think Vince has, the allegations are very heavy. Obviously, they're going into federal court, which is pretty damning when it comes to the aspect of Vince at all, whatever, possibly not being guilty of all this stuff. It's damning. If there's a federal investigation going up against you, you are doesn't look good. But Vince has not yet told his side of the story. We have heard all from the lawsuit with Janelle Grant. So it does make sense that Vince would try to draw a line in the sand of the documentary and what might be try to knock off any kind of potential negativity that would come his way. But also, and it makes this is good publicity for the documentary, is it not? What we're gonna watch and see, I think it gets all the wrestling fans more. Oh, I gotta watch this. It really elevates the fact that this is something to tune into, and it really is content to tune into if you are a pro wrestling fan. Vince McMahon is one of the biggest names in the history of wrestling, if not the biggest, obviously for obvious reasons. So this documentary is going to catch some eyes, but Vince kind of gave it more of a boost there with that. So Janelle Grant's attorney, Anna Callis, she stated that Vince McMahon physically and emotionally abused, sexually assaulted, and human trafficked Janelle Grant for more than 2 years. Calling his horrific and criminal behavior an affair is delusional and nothing more than a sad attempt to save his shredded reputation. Although Miss Grant has not seen the Mr. McMahon docuseries, we hope it shines a bright light on his abhorrent and criminal actions by accurately portraying the realities of his abusive and exploitive behavior. Miss Grant will no longer be silenced by McMahon. Her story, though deeply troubling and exceptionally painful, is one that can help other abuse survivors find their voices. We seek to hold McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE accountable and to give Miss Grant her day in court. Dave Meltzer also reported on the Wrestling Observer Radio that Vince tried to put the kibosh on this documentary by buying the documentary, making an offer to Netflix to sell the documentary to him. He did not want this to come out, according to Meltzer, and was trying every which way he could to not make that happen. He also did something else, too, to try to stop the documentary from going down. But obviously that did not come into play. And we are going to see it, and we are going to talk about it. We'll definitely be talking about it on here. I do want to note that I did reach out to Vince McMahon's attorney for comments about Vince's comments and to try to get some clarity as to if she was approached or the team was approached, the legal team was approached about the documentary to get interviewed for or anything like that. I have yet to hear back. So there you go. I'll keep posted if I do hear something, though. So I did reach out to the legal team. We'll see if I get a response. Probably not, if I'm willing to bet. I thought there was something else I wanted to cover, but maybe I don't. Let's just get a little bit of your comments on here. Oh, wait. Did you see the sequel in Bruges, Banshees of Inisherin? No, I have not. Wrestling Old Head. I will have to look at that. Wow. Let's see. I want to see if there's anything. Everybody's talking about the Grosse Pointe Blank and different things like that. So, good movies. Good movies. Love the movie discussion. Can't wait to see Killer's Game. And I will have to make note of that. Banshee of Inisherin. Also, there was another movie. 11 Psychopaths. It's another Martin McDonagh film with Christopher Walken. It's a number in Psychopaths. It's like 9, 11. I don't know. It's a number. Take a look. I hear it's a great film. I got to catch up on a lot of different movies. I know that much. But hey, lots to catch up on in this pro wrestling world, like RVD, one of a kind. Me and him and Katie Forbes did an episode, a special Monday night episode during Raw, and they had a big announcement. Guys, I want you to check out the clip or the episode later today at 4:20 p.m. But they announced 7 Psychopaths. Thank you, Jay. Rob and Katie announced the launch of Only Wrestlers. OnlyWrestlers.com. It's a new platform where you can pick your wrestler that you want and subscribe to their channel. And they'll give you exclusive content. There's a lot that they will do, like videos, daily blog kind of stuff, depending on what the wrestler wants to do, shares information with you or what have you. But you can sign up. There's also an added, very groundbreaking component where it's called the Only Wrestlers Association. And what that is a wrestling promotion that fans will be able to vote what wrestlers can compete on the card. This is a literal wrestling card. Wrestlers will compete on a wrestling card. What's the match type will be, and where this wrestling event will go down. So check out, get early on the ground with it. There's several wrestlers already on there that maybe have yet to launch their page and set up their service, but there's a presence there. Sign up right now as a fan. Get your stuff in there, and Rob gives you full details on how you can benefit from that too, financially. You get a little bit of money coming in there if you can recruit people and different wrestlers coming in. You have certain things like that to get them into the page. They use a code. Really, really neat, groundbreaking stuff. Check it out, onlywrestlers.com. But tune into RVD later today at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll launch that new episode where Rob and Katie talk about that. We also cover the Vince McMahon documentary, and Rob answers a lot of different questions as well. As far as I have a neat new feature that I'm doing on SEScoops.com each weekly. If you are a fan of the NFL like I am tying everything pro wrestling into each week of the NFL. What goes down that connects pro wrestling with the National Football League. We had some definitely an array of happenings this past week that did that, with Seth Rollins being at the Chicago Bears game. We had Sheamus trying to rally the Tennessee Titans up before they lost to the Green Bay Packers. We had Bayley reunite with some WWE stars, or AEW stars, Mercedes Moné at the San Francisco 49ers game. Aaron Rodgers gets compared to Arn Anderson. So a lot of different stuff there. It's a weekly feature now that's going to be taking place on SEScoops.com. Check it out. Give me some feedback on it, what you'd like to see a little bit more from that. But I'm very excited to do that. Two passions of mine tied together. My worlds colliding. As far as other worlds colliding, check out Working Stiff. New episode dropped a little later this week because Robert was away. Him and Scott cover AEW and the happenings there. And then there's also a Patreon that's set up. And today, if you're the top subscriber on Working Stiff, if you're the top tier there on their Patreon, you will get something to sports entertain with, which I believe Robert reviews Raw. So you can get his thoughts on there too. As far as anything else goes, Follow us on Twitter. Follow Robert at WDCreative_ish. You can follow me at Dominic D'Angelo. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, get the word out about everything. We'll have a lot to talk about more this week. Thank you, everybody, for joining in and having a jolly good time with me, even though I'm just flying solo today. But yes, I will chat with you guys tomorrow. We'll preview AEW Dynamite. We'll talk anything that happens to when it comes to the Vince doc. Maybe we'll talk about the first episode if it airs and I get to watch it in time. But either way, best of luck in your future endeavors. And hey, trying to think of something creative to say. In Bruges, baby. Watching Bruges. Martin McDonough for